I'm just seeing a lot of videos about AI coming out recently, and so I'm just going to add to that discourse a little bit. Um, I was just watching someone talking about the new stuff from Adobe. It seems like it will be probably undercutting a lot of graphic design work, and just seeing this combined with just the growing number of different AI powered products that are coming out now and the clear uncertainty about how they will affect many parts of 21st century life, it just got me thinking about, what are going to be what is going to be the response, from, let me back up a little bit. It's just got me thinking more broadly about the technological development of media. And there's a lot of different parts of labor that we could talk about in terms of AI, but in terms of media, you know, it used to be, more developed, more creative, more well-funded work was, it was cleaner looking, it's more colorful, crisper, sharper, and just I'm gonna say brighter and more colorful. I'm gonna talk about media, but I want to talk about other things as well in this way. And it just got me thinking about, okay, well, I wouldn't want to be a graphic designer right now, and you know, how is this kind of shape the next step for um, the consumable and the development side of media? So I was just thinking about how the plethora of colorful media, personally, it kind of pushes me to be more drawn to things that are a bit simpler, and personally, I definitely have a nostalgia for of actual older movies, TV shows, music. One example is Fiona Apple and her 2020 album. Um, she made that album herself, in GarageBand. I think possibly in her actual garage, and it sounded great to me, and maybe that's just me, but it's like it's simpler. It's less processed. I think that's you can tell. I think, and you can no longer tell if something is created by from the ground up by a person, or whether much of that work was done by AI. If you know it's AI, you can kind of see some of the characteristics. But I think as much as you couldn't tell in a blind test, I think just the amount of work now being done by AI is going to, for an advertisement, for a little logo, for a little, you know, a graphic in a, you know, all the little ways that graphics are used, but when they're not the focus, you know, a lot of things, a lot of tools and media used when it's not the focus can now be worked on by machine learning, artificial intelligence. But when the media is the focus itself, I'm just interested to see how there is a shift in focus towards more amateur looking content that becomes more nostalgic of a time when that was the dominant production quality of content, you know. And on the artistic side, there might be, I feel like what we're going to see is more gravitation to simpler things. And I feel like I don't know. It's, I'm just interested to see how, as more and more, the ability for machine driven technology to produce more complex, more colorful media, I'm interested to see how there will be an increasing demand for content and products that are very grounded in human creation, and how the defining aspect of human creation will shift from that which is more complex and colorful and towards what is actually simpler and a little more rudimentary. So I think from what I see on the consumer side is I just appreciate content that is a little calmer, a little bit slower, and I can tell it's not been processed by a machine because it's just not trying so hard in that way, and therefore there's more space for lack of a better term, a more human connection. Another example of this outside of AI I've noticed is writing. There's a way to write, and if you learn how to write, you write a certain way. AI is starting to learn to write in a way that's more human, but it's still human in a formulaic way. So I think this is taking us in a direction where what is more human in writing is what breaks the rules and is not predictable. Now, there's still a style. It could technically be replicated, but it's not part of the larger trends that the AI is generally going to mimic. So an example is my girlfriend texting me versus me texting. It's like I'm going to text more, it's more flashy, it's more proper, that's my thing. I'm using my semicolons, everything's correct. But, and it's expressive, and I that's my way of writing, it's cool, but when my girlfriend would text me like a long paragraph, it wasn't so proper, it wasn't so fancy. But what I noticed about that and appreciated about it is it felt more real, it felt more human, because the words weren't getting in the way of the person and of the feelings in the message. And that's a level of art that can be done on purpose, or it can be done by not trying too hard. But it's either way, it's not something that I see being as easily captured, at least at this time, by artificial intelligence. It's when you basically, the name of the game is to break the formula and just cut out the bullshit. I think a lot about production quality in writing, in photography, in video production. And when I thought about making videos for a long time, it's been about how can I make the product seem more refined, more colorful, and more complex and more interesting. This is all being automated, not just by AI, but by other programs by more powerful computers that make it more accessible for anyone to make content that looks good. And I'm all for that. It's great. It's fun. It's nice to have a nice looking video. I think it's important, but it's, now I'm just making this on a webcam, and I'm just making it that way because otherwise I'm going to get in the way of making my own thoughts, which is another example of that. Like, there's no production of this video getting in the way of these thoughts, and maybe it's a shitty video, maybe I'm boring to listen to, maybe I'm going to put you to sleep, but to me, what I'm being drawn to, what I think is going to become more and more demanded, more valuable, at least for a time, is what is the content that is not distracting or distracted by trying to be loud, trying to be colorful, and even trying to be slick. That's the thing, the AI can be slick. I'm not being slick, I'm just talking. And my goal for a video like this is to talk like I would talk to a friend. I'm just trying to share what's interesting to me to talk to a friend about. If I'm trying to focus on a larger audience, if I'm trying to make this set more interesting, I'm getting distracted from making the content. And I guess what I'm thinking is, it used to be that you want to rise above your competition, who's all doing that, and they're all doing, they're just making videos. Great. Okay, now to level up, you got to refine and, you know, make the content better. And it's like, yeah, I'm still going to do that, but I wonder if this more minimalistic content is going to become more desired because of just the over. I feel personally like I'm getting desensitized to all of just I ignore most content. It's too much. It's too stimulating. So it's like if I can bring that back a little bit, take it a little bit, make it a bit calmer, a bit simpler, then it's a break from what you're getting otherwise.